Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. In this video, I'm going to break down my Revenant Deathless run in solo mode. I will explain how I optimize my road to get the most out of this character, what are my strategies and thoughts when engaging certain fights, and how you can improve your gameplay with this character. With that being said, these are the relics I'm using and I leave you with the run. The first thing you want to do is open in your map and check your close places, because the main road you're gonna take at the start of the match is gonna be the most important thing. This is a general rule with every character, but with Revenant it's a little bit more important, because we don't have as many weapon choices as with other characters. And as you can see here, I have my main weapon with the Horse Stomp Ash of War, or Horsefrost Stomp Ash of War, something like that, which is basically an ice explosion. And this one is gonna be really helpful to finish the first camp really fast. You really need to focus on going as fast as you can with the first in the first minutes of the match, because it's gonna be really helpful to level up your character faster. And with a character that is really not that resistant as Revenant, that is gonna die after a few hits, it's better if you level up as fast as you can. Here I went for a Scarab, but if you don't have a Scarab close by, you just don't have to go there. And as you can see, I marked the Mega Church because I'm going there after this one. And a big tip I can give you is that as soon as when you're looting weapons or any stuff, just pick it, and while you're traveling or running to a certain location, then you check if it's worth using or not. But while you're exploring or looting, just pick it, and that will increase the speed of your runs dramatically. Now with this character I really struggle a lot to get the things done right, because this character is really not resistant, so you're gonna be losing a lot of fights if you're not careful enough. Also, I recommend you to practice the skill of this character, because it's really important to make your fights a lot easier. Now here, if you are going to a Mega Church, you want to defeat the boss, but you also want to look for another Stone Sword key, especially because we have the setup that increases our damage by each prisoner of every jail defeated. So each time we defeat an every jail prisoner, we are gonna be getting a 5% more damage, 5% more damage per every jail prisoner defeated. So so for that reason, it's very important to have enough Stone Sword keys. And now here you have to fight the enemy. If it is not this guy, it's gonna be the Fire Monk, and if it's not this type of church, it's gonna be the Golem or the Envoys. Any boss it is, you just have to defeat him as fast as you can, and that is the key to this type of runs. If you really want to go Deathless, or if you really want to go level 15 as much times as possible, the speed is really important, so you have to optimize your character as much as you can. As you can see, I was using the Cestus because I really don't like the main weapon of Revenant. That's why I'm using the relic that grants me the Horsefrost Stomp Ash of War, because this is what helps the most, you know. Because using the pure moveset of the weapon is not really optimal, because it affects the speed of the character a little bit. So that's the worst part of it. It doesn't deal bad damage because it scales really good with the character stats, but it's not amazing. Now I'm going to the Ever Jail, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be using the Cestus, because so far it's the best weapon I have, in my opinion. But if you feel more comfortable with the starting weapon, feel free to use it. I also have Catch Flame there, but I don't know what I'm gonna be doing here. I guess I'm gonna be using depending of which enemy it is, I might use the Horsefrost, the Ash of War, to deal some frostbite, and then I'll swap the weapon. Yeah, if you want to spam the Ash of War, it's useful as well, but it's something I really don't like completely. So you just have to focus on doing that as much as you can. And luckily, this enemy is not that easy to defeat, but it drops a lot of runes, and it will allow you to buff you to level up like up to 5 or 6. And that is gonna be really helpful. As you can see, I have the ulti ready, but I didn't need to use it, which is amazing. Now you level up and you have to look for your next location. In this case, I have a church close, and those are the little things that you have to be thinking about each time you enter a match. Which locations you have close, and how you can optimize your route as much as possible. This way you will notice a dramatic improvement in your gameplay, and you will be able to gain more expeditions, to win more expeditions, I mean. As you can see, I have the Shifting Earth event of the Roaring Woods, but if you don't have this one, you can go with you can activate it in the new shop, or you can use any other Shifting Earth event you want. The one you like the most is the best for you. I like this one because it has a lot of bosses stacked together at the and it helps to gain more levels fast in the second night or second day, I mean. Now here we have another boss fight. In this case I had luck because it was this guy. But if you have another boss fight, think about it. Maybe it's not worth fighting it. But in this case it was completely worth it because it's not a major enemy. It's not a red eye boss. It's just a regular boss, so you can fight it. And remember to be using your skill as much as you can. My favorite summon is the big boy, Frederick, I think it's his name, I'm not sure. But it's definitely the best in my opinion because it staggers the enemies. And that helps a lot because you don't... Sometimes you can stun lock your enemies. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. You can stun lock the enemies constantly. And that is a huge help when it comes to using this character. And if you find weapons that you might think are not as useful with this character, just be sure to take them as well, to try it with her, because it's gonna give you a different approach to this character, and you will not feel forced to play like a summon, you know, like a spellcaster. It depends on your playstyle. If you feel more comfortable casting spells, then this is the perfect character to do it. But if you are like me that prefers melee weapons, then just don't be afraid to experiment. The thing that you have to consider at every time is that you have to rely on your summons to grab the attention of the enemies. And once you're getting the attention, be careful and try to heal as much as you can, because if you don't heal enough and you get hit even by a simple mere attack, you might actually get punished, like as you can see here. The damage the bosses deal is not really dramatic if you are running a wilder or running a stronger character, but with something like Revenant, then you really gotta be careful. Now here, this shouldn't be a difficult fight, but we don't have weapons with better range, so we are stuck here with this guy trying to fight him as fast as possible. And we were lucky that he didn't summon his horse again, because that will be the worst. But here we are very close to defeat it, and you just have to keep playing. In the same way, if it's not an easy enemy, just skip it. Just skip it and go to the next location you wanted to go. Here, I think I was going to the next ever jail, if I'm not wrong. And I stepped into these two enemies, and I decided to fight them. If you step into enemies like these that are not extremely difficult, the best thing you can do is go for them. But if they are like, I don't know, a Draconic Tree Sentinel, a Bellbearing Hunter, don't do that in the first day. Save them for the next day, and just maintain your original road. Something I recommend you to do is summoning your thing before the boss appears, because in my earliest runs with this character I was just not doing that, and it was really not that great. And now this happened here, and the logical thing to do will be as we finish this fight, the first thing I will think of doing will be fighting that guy. But I'd rather just pay the runes in this case. I recommend you to pay the runes, because that way you will break the curse, and if you wish you can fight the guy. But in any case, I really wouldn't fight the Libra boss, because he is really annoying, and with the weapons I have right now, I really don't think I'm gonna be doing that. I decided to go for the other buff, because it will increase my rune acquisition for the next enemies I defeat, and I feel like it's a little bit better than just an instant 10,000 runes, especially when with the previous ever jail fight I gained 20,000. So that's something that it has to be with the decision making. You will see how your run is going, and you will have to make decisions. And this is what this game is about, making decisions fast. And maybe that's why this character is a little bit more complicated to use than other characters, because it's not as resistant and not as like tanky. So it's very vulnerable. And in this case, I think this was a wise decision, just paying him the 15k runes and just ignoring him. If you feel more comfortable with the character, go ahead and fight him. But in any case, if you're gonna fight him, just be sure that you break the curse first, and maybe you'll get your runes back later once you defeat him. But right now I really didn't want to do anything. I was thinking of fighting it, but I don't know, that guy can be really dangerous and deals a lot of damage, So I decided to just skip this fight and go to the next location. And even if I wasted a bit of time here, as you can see, we are level 8 already and the second night is not finished yet. Your target, your realistic target always is getting to level 10 at the end of the first day. So once you defeat the boss, the minimum you are looking for is getting to level 10. With characters like Wilder, Iron Eye, Rider, that is not a problem, it's actually pretty easy. But with characters like Revenant, like Duchess, the other character that is not that tanky, Recluse, it's a little bit more complicated. Because you will notice that if you are used to fight like a little bit more aggressive, with this character you have to be more... you have to think a little bit more before going, because you are at higher risk, considering that your character at any moment can get destroyed. And I experienced that in a lot of matches before. That's why I don't have commentary over this run. I am doing it right now because it was too late in the night and I was already tired of speaking while playing, because I was losing multiple matches because I was not clicking with the character. But in this match I finally did it. And it's not a really different approach to other characters, but you really need to consider all those aspects that maybe with other characters you don't need to. Now here we obtain this Rusted Anchor. It's not the best, but I feel comfortable with this type of weapons. And I'm saying it's not the best because it's a lightning Rusted Anchor. So the best scaling stat in this case for this weapon will be Dexterity, to maximize that lightning damage. But as I like this playstyle of using a melee weapon, then I just go ahead and fight as much as I can. Now, in this point, I realized that I don't have any other boss close by or any other realistic boss fight I can take at this level close. So I just decided to fight these guys to gain my next level. And as you can see, I already did. So I'm more than prepared to go for the night boss. But be sure to use your time effectively. If you already get to level 8 and you are close to and the ring is close to the night boss, just be sure to be fighting as much as you can, even the normal enemies, the weakest enemies, because they drop runes as well. And with characters like this, it's really important. It's extremely important to be leveling as much as you can. As you can see, this thing should be closing now. So I'm just going for whatever enemy I can defeat right now. And that is exactly what you want to do. Do not waste your time. Do not ignore your possibilities once the ring is closing. Be sure to grab a decent position. Do not let the day eat your character, because traveling without having the possibility of keep fighting is gonna really punish your run. Now here I'm just looking for this type of enemies, as I told you. Now, the most optimal thing with Revenant will be using whether fire damage or holy damage in incantations, or weapons that scale with those with faith, like the Cypher Para, like the Unblockable Blade. I don't know how the sword is called, but it's very similar to the Cypher Para. And you can also use like the Blasphemous Blade. The best weapon, I think the best melee weapon to use with Revenant will be the Blasphemous Blade, because the unique skill of that greatsword scales directly with faith. And here I saw the hippo, and I already know that I'm gonna be fighting it as soon as I finish with this boss. And having that idea of what you're going to do next is gonna make the big difference of what you're doing here. Normally I hate this boss fight because it's really annoying. Because when you have the skeletons, you can be sure that you're gonna be fighting the Tibia Mariner. But in this case, in most cases I don't like it. But here, as we have a character that is not really tanky, and that boss fight is pretty easy. You just have to be patient. It's not the best boss fight you can actually have if you wanna have fun, but it's definitely good if you're not that good with one character. If you are learning the character. At this point, I feel like I know the character decently, but I have too much to learn yet. I get confused when using the skill sometimes, but I'm getting practice right now. I'm getting used to it. And here focus on the Tibia Mariner. Let the other guys for later. Focus on the main guy and just keep dealing damage. That is your main approach. Dealing damage to the big guy, and then the bird that it's gonna summon, it can deal damage to you, but it's not gonna be as aggressive as it was a boss fight. So you just focus on dealing damage to this guy, and the bird is gonna help you because it's gonna be dealing damage to you and to the skeletons. So it's actually quite useful. There isn't too much to say here. Just keep fighting. Now I realized that I was dealing more damage with the catch flame. So just go with whatever you feel the most optimal for your character. If you prefer going with the spells when using Revenant, go ahead. Just be aware that Revenant cannot retrieve the FP if you don't have a passive of a weapon or a passive of a relic that increases your FP. So you have to be aware of that if you are gonna be casting spells. Because once you are out of FP, you really need something to help you with that, you know. Now this is the cool part of having the bird, because it's gonna be dealing damage to the skeletons as well, and it can make a huge progress in the boss. Now, if I'm not wrong, I already have 5 flasks of healing, and to me that is more than enough. So, what I will do in the next night is, if I have the church closed, I will go for that extra flask, you know, to have another one. It doesn't hurt, it's great, but you really don't want to prioritize that in the second night. In the second night, you want to go fight the difficult bosses as much as you can, so you can get extra runes to get to the next level. If you don't do that, you will notice that the ring is gonna close fast and you are not even level 12 at the end of the day. And that is really not optimal when going for the last boss, because you really need the level 15 with this character, otherwise it's not gonna be great, to be honest. Now, as you can see, the bird is not a big deal here. Just focus on the skeletons and you're gonna be fine. Now, when it comes to passives with this character, I can tell you which one you should pick. It depends on your playstyle. In this case, I don't like any of the last two, so I picked the first one that appears there. And now I am close to level 11, so I'm going directly for the hippo. Now, if you see the hippo is not a big deal. Maybe in the regular Elden Ring with the second phase he has, it might be a little bit more complicated. But in this game, it's really not a big deal. You just have to focus on breaking his stance, and when he's broken, you just spam something that deals a lot of damage. He's weak to fire damage, so I'm gonna be spamming Catch Flame if I'm not wrong, but first I have to break his stance. And to do that, you just have to go with heavy attacks or jump attacks. Also, do not be afraid to use your ultimate as much as you can. It's gonna regenerate quite fast with this character, or at least that's what I feel. Because I don't know, with Iron Eye or with dodges, I feel like the ultimate takes a lot of time, even if you are using the relics that increase the art gauge speed. But yeah, that's my perception at least, so it goes up to you. So here, instead of going for the quick hit, just burn the guy. Just burn the guy and he's out. Now we are level 11, which is perfect. With level 11, now we have to go for another boss fight, or if you have another church close by, go for it, but if it's not close, go for another boss fight. Here, I'm pretty sure I'm going to the... I'm not sure if I'm going to the castle or to the Shifting Earth event. As this is the first night, I think I'm going to the castle. If I'm lucky enough, I will not have the Velverin Hunter there or something more difficult. Especially with the armament that I have, because I don't have something with pierce damage to deal with the Velverin Hunter or the Draconic Tree Sentinel, for instance. But even if I find the Draconic Tree Sentinel or a Tree Sentinel, I'll fight him, because those enemies are not as annoying as the Velverin Hunter. Now I'm pretty sure here is the Red Wolf of Radagon. Well, at the moment of playing, I didn't know. And it's not the Red Wolf of Radagon, it's this guy. And now check this out. This is why I like to play with Frederick, because he's gonna stagger this guy, and if I use jump attacks, we are gonna stun lock him. And I don't know, this might not be the intended playstyle of Revenant, but it's really useful. I really struggle with this guy when I am using Wilder. But honestly, with Revenant, even if I'm not dealing the biggest damage with the weapon, it was a really easy boss fight. But this especially because of the stagger, the constant stagger with the abilities of Frederick and the jump attacks with the Rusted Anchor, bro. Stance damage, critical hits is just too easy, bro. Now I don't know if I have a passive that inflicts bleed. No, I don't have it. I had a passive that increases discovery, that's why I get the crit hit, the legendary weapon here. I'm not sure though, but yeah, that might be the reason. And of all the legendary weapons I could have, this might not be the best, but it's not bad because it scales of fate a little bit since it's a fire weapon. And it has the passive effect of the Blasphemous Blade that defeats enemies when using the... That heals your character each time you defeat enemies. So it's really, really useful. And this one is gonna be my main weapon because of the fate scaling and because how comfortable I feel with melee combat. Now, as you can see here, I'm looking for another passive effect, but if you don't have anything that you consider especially useful, just don't waste your time doing that. If you have a setup that you feel like it's already good, just go for it. Now, I wanted to change my improved item discovery talisman because I don't need it anymore. I feel good with this weapon. Obviously, if I had a Blasphemous Blade, it would be 10 times better, but this is what we get and I'll be fine with it. Now here in the top is gonna be a Tree Sentinel. I was lucky it was not a Bellbearing Hunter. So we are just gonna fight. Use your abilities as much as you can and be aggressive. If you remember that the Tree Sentinels might not be the best enemies to apply to use spells against or incantations, especially if it's the Draconic, because the Draconic is really resistant to fire damage. So you have to be making decisions across the expedition, you know. But basically, the general explanation and the things that change your gameplay is how you plan your road. And in the second day, focus on fighting enemies. Your first day is gonna be for getting your character buffed, getting your resources, your flasks, your rare jails, and the second day is for major boss fights like this. Especially the one on top of the castle because it's gonna drop a lot of wounds, and it's gonna drop decent armament as well. I don't know why he did that, but I'm glad he did. He just stands still there like, I don't know why. And now that attack is really difficult. I dodged that properly, but sometimes I struggle a lot with that one. And as you can see, I am not using spells because I feel more comfortable playing at melee range. But once again, if you prefer casting spells and you have decent spells to work with, go ahead and use it. That is the ideal with this character. And of all the... when it comes to lightning, that is very important. Lightning is gonna scale Amazing of Fate when you are using lightning incantations. But if you are using lightning skills, that is gonna be dexterity. So you need to have that in mind when using your weapons. Later, I'm going to get the Bolt of Grances, and even if it deals lightning damage, purely lightning damage with its unique skill, the damage is not gonna scale of my fate values. It's gonna be scaling with dexterity. And if I'm not wrong, this character has decent dexterity, but it's not the best. It will be better to have an Iron Eye or a Dodges, but yeah. Those are things that you will be learning as much as you with your play. So the more you play, you are gonna be learning more stuff about the game. Now this is perfect. We are level 13 and the ring is just closing. So now we are going to the Shifting Earth event. And I really like the Shifting Earth event of the woods, because it will grant you the passive effect of healing after getting hit. So if you get a small hit and you don't want to waste a flask, you just go aggressive and retrieve that damage, retrieve that HP by dealing damage. I think that is one of the best effects you can have in this game, considering that their resources are very limited. In the regular Elden Ring, you can have up to 10 or 12 flasks, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 12 flasks. And you can split them between FP and HP. And if you are not interested on casting spells or using much the skills, you just go with your 10 flasks of HP and 2 of FP, you know? But in this case, the max we can have is 7 for HP. And now what you can do here is that when you are walking to the fort, try to spot your bosses. Try to spot the bosses that you really want to fight and try to be aware of those bosses that you really don't want to fight. If I remember correctly, in this run, I saw a gargoyle and I didn't fight it because it's a little difficult, but I forgot that this weapon deals strike damage. This hammer deals strike damage and the gargoyles are extremely weak to strike damage. So that was gonna be not a difficult fight, but I just got scared because the gargoyles deal a lot of damage. And thankfully I found other boss fights that are good as well. So it's really up to you guys. It's really up to you as how you're looking your run. Now you do not depend on the RNG to summon the Shifting Earth events, you just have to buy the Shifting Earth events in the new shop. And with that you should pick the one you like the most. I prefer this one because of the passive effect that it grants you once you get the power. But if you like the city or the mountains or the crater, just go ahead and pick the one you feel the most useful. But the core mechanic here, in order to be winning with any character consistently, and especially with this character that is a little bit slow because of the type of weapons you get dropped, is optimizing your routing as much as you can. Optimize your routing, look for your resources as fast as possible, and try to avoid those boss fights that you really don't want to be losing time. Like if you see a major enemy like a Velverin Hunter in the first day, don't go for it, it's not gonna be worth it. Unless you have something to really counter it, like a piercing weapon that is really effective or yeah, something like that. But in other cases, just don't do that because it's not gonna be worth it. And it's gonna be even worse if you get catched by the ring just because you wanted to get that fight. It is not gonna be good. Now, as you can see, even if I like these Shifting Earth events, I don't know the mapping really well. So I am struggling to move across the woods and stuff. But here we find our first target. Now, the cool thing about this guy, the deer is weak to strike damage, to slash damage, and to fire damage. We don't have slash, but we have strike and fire, so the damage we're gonna be doing is massive. And I use my ultimate immediately, because when you use your ultimate, your characters are gonna be buffed as well. So they are gonna be immortal and they are gonna get really aggressive. If you're fighting a big enemy, the best character you can use with the best summon you can buff with your ultimate is the skeleton, the giant skeleton. Because it's gonna be shooting at Ghost Flame laser beam that really deals a lot of damage constantly. So it also helps with the stance damage. Now, what I don't like of the ability of this hammer is that it takes a lot of time to be executed. Compared to the Blasphemous Blade that is incredibly fast, man. Now that passive is broken, bro. Because I don't know why, but it inflicts blood at low HP, but sometimes you're not that low and you're inflicting bleed, which is great in my opinion. And it's not your low HP, it's the low HP of the target as well. If you are low HP, it deals bleed. If the target is low HP, it deals bleed as well, so it's amazing. Now we are looking for another boss fight, because we have time still and we can get the level 15 before the fighting the final boss of the day. And that is exactly what you wish. Now I have 70k runes, so I'm really there. And which better enemy than Loretta? Loretta is not that difficult, guys. It's probably one of the easiest sentinels you can fight. Despite of having all those like phalanx across her, she really depends a lot on the arrows and the spells she casts. But the thing is that those projectiles are really easy to dodge, and if you catch them early, you just have to push forwards and you're gonna avoid them and you're gonna be able to punish her. So that's what it's about with Revenant. But of course, this is my playstyle, you know. So, I mean, we are going with melee Revenant, which is not optimal. Well, I won't say it's not optimal, but it's a different approach to this character, so it's up to you. It's really up to you how you're gonna play this character. Because the most ideal scenario will be having lightning, fire, or holy damage incantations to deal as much damage as we can with the seals. But once again, we don't have, with this character, we don't have a way to regenerate or FP. So having decent melee weapons is good as well. Now, as you saw, that is the passive I was talking about. When you activate your ultimate with the big skeleton, he's gonna be shooting that massive laser beam, and we got another legendary weapon, which is the Bolt of Grandsack. Now, that weapon is really good, so even if my stats are not the best to be using this weapon, I'm just gonna grab it. It's a legendary weapon. You have to have fun, bro. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Now, level 15 before the second day boss. Now, with other characters like Iron Eye, like Ryder, your best approach, like Wilder as well, is going for the level 12 once the first day is finished. Because those characters are more aggressive, they are more designed for the melee combat, you can be faster, you don't have to be that careful. So with those characters, if you want to go crazy, you really try to go for the level 12 once you finish the first day. But with characters like Revenant, your realistic and most optimal approach is level 10 once the first night boss is defeated. That is your best approach, and it's gonna be really helpful. And once again, even if I have the level 15 already, I am just not gonna sit there and not do anything. If you find enemies, just fight them, clear the area, prepare for your boss fight, and it's gonna be perfect. Now, in this case, I am prepared to face a more difficult boss fight, and I'm gonna be facing the A3 Sentinel. So the game is really strange sometimes. Like with this character specifically, with Revenant, I've had enough fights where I was fighting really difficult enemies with a 10 level Revenant, like really struggling. And now that I am overkill, I'm gonna get just a 3 Sentinel. And of course I'm using the Bolt of Grandsack, because why not? It's a great spear, and as you can see, it's dealing bleed. But my HP is not low, so it's the HP of the enemies as well. It's perfect. Oh, and it wasn't the regular 3 Sentinel, it was the Draconic one. But we are going so crazy, dude. Now, that was a really good timing, because now my Frederick is buffed. And we are melting this guy, dude. We are melting that guy, bro. He's just out, bro. Yeah, it's just something majestic, yeah. Dude. Once you get your characters this buffed, the game gets really funny, bro. Now, I really didn't understand what happened there. I guess I dealt all the damage on the horse and not on the knight. But yeah, this is what it's about. I know I might be a little bit confusing on how I explain the things, but it's all about your routing. Focusing the first night on getting your resources, getting as much runes as you can, and the second night is mostly about fighting big enemies. And now we go against the final boss, which is the Caligo, and I decided to go for that dragon because he's weak to fire damage. And fire damage is one of the best friends of Revenant. And now with all the runes I have, I can focus now on just buying the items I need. And with that, I should leave you guys. I hope you have a great day and enjoy the final boss fight. The final boss fight is pretty much straight up. Just dodge attacks. Just deal as much damage as you can. Use your skill. Use your abilities. It's all I can tell you. Just don't die. It's not as easy as it sounds, but try to play carefully. Especially a great advice for the final boss for Caligo is just keeping close to that guy. And when he's doing that AoE attack, just try to look for him with the sound, and you will reach him really fast enough to not get hit by that AoE attack. As you can see, I'm loaded with passive abilities, so this is not gonna be really complicated. Even though, as I don't know the boss fight very well, I bought a vending grace just in case, you know. But as you know, this is a Deathless zone, so I hope you have fun with Revenant. I hope you enjoy the boss fight, and have a great day, guys.